Good morning, my name is Gianluigi Negroni and I am the salt expert for Prodesi. In this short presentation, we will introduce you to some world situation of salt production, and we can go to the Angola situation to see better about the industry, the salt value chain industry in Angola. Salt is very important product, not only for human consumption, but also for others. Just to have one clear idea, we have some data from the USA Geological Survey System. In 2019, the world market production was around 330 million tons, with an increase of 1% in from 2018 to 2019. So it's very important. A very good news from the production point of view is that Africa consumes alone 160 millions of salt, and the local production is very small. So there is a very big market for the salt and salt products. And in the world, the main producer are China with 68 million tons, followed by the USA with 42 million tons and India with 29 million tons. So we have a really big space in Africa to produce and sell salt. And another point very important is about some statistics from the Rock Seal Market Report that tells that the main use of salt in the world is for chlorine production. This chlorine production is associated with PVC plastic and covers 36% of the world production of the 330 million tons available. Then also there is other use like the glass producers that the calcium carbonate produce, and this PVC production and glass production cover 2/3 of the salt production. So the majority of salt is used for industrial production. And this industrial production is plastic and glass, of course, is related to the increase of population. So we are looking at an increase of population very high in the world, so the use of salt will be increased in the future. And there is not problem about to sell the salt. Of course, world price is world price, must be followed by our producer. And the salt is also used for oil production. And when there is some extraction of oil in some area, you need some salt, special salt. And also it's used also for ice in the street in the northern country where there's a lot of ice on the street. So, and there is many other producers. Finally, we have also the food production, human consumption, that is around 4.3% of the total production. So the food security is just a very small part of the total, but very important anyway. And just we go to the SADC countries we have and the African countries. We have that the main producer in these countries is Botswana, around 500,000 tons, Namibia with 650,000 tons, and South Africa with 500,000 tons. Botswana have no sea, so the salt is taken from some salt lake. And of course, Botswana is in a good position to access the closest countries. And about Angola, we are speaking about the technology part in Angola. We have the rainings that is concentrated in the northern part of the country. Meanwhile, the solar radiation is concentrated in the southern part of the country, particularly in Benguela and Namibia provinces, coastal provinces. In fact, there are the biggest saline are there. So anyway, even in the north there is saline. Of course, production is less performing, but is very good. So we have very large possibility with more than 1,500 kilometers of coast in Namibia, and we can produce a lot of salt. Of course, we know that the cost of salt in Angola actually is a little bit expensive, but could be better in the next year when we'll be more organized. And of course, we can start the show. You can see where there is three main parts: some general indicator, some value chain, salt value chain indicator, and some investment opportunities. With some flag project in the last part of the presentation. So we just can see that the national production is from Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries is around more than 190,000 tons, and all is consumed internally. And then we have an importation of $60 million every year in the last year from the Jordan of Angola. And generally the use per capita use is 3.64 kilo for every habitant in Angola, and the use for capita, the food use is around 1 kilo each habitant per year. And we have 19 producers actually, they call commercial, few of them cover the majority of production, and there is some small, and there is around 1,019 workers, and just estimation from Prodesi. And it's good that all production is absorbed, and as in the other countries, the major consumption for the industry, and the production is increasing year by year, and the saline is becoming more industrialized. Majority of production is concentrated in Benguela province, as mentioned before, and normally is not so much mechanized production of salt. There is a lot of manpower, so a lot of people, as mentioned, work in the area. So we can just look about the salt value chain. We have the input. This input, of course, are the salt water is very abundant and clean in Angola. And also there is all the equipment to pump the water, and the land close to the sea, and of course all the pound that need to be concentrated the water, and finally the final pound for crystallization. This is the main input, and there is manpower, there is some mechanical pumping, and some machinery to transport and pack the salt. And many material is done locally for the manpower. And of course, we need the fuel for the pumping. The manpower is there, and to process, make packing, and to dry, and to add iodio, and to make to stock in the warehouse, and to transport. And we have several stakeholders that work in the organization and control of the value chain. We have a national direction of salt production, iodized salt production, and we have a national Industrial and Fishery Investigation Technology Institute. Then we have the Association of Salt Production, APROSAL. Then we have Namibia Fishery Association. We have banks, consultant, service, technical service. And then we have the National Institute of Research for Marine Fishery. And then the National Director of Infrastructure, and for all that look all the salt value chain. And then also we have a National Institute of Price Competition for the last part. So after the production, after the crystallization, the salt is collected, is dry, and is packed normally in 25 kilo bags in the production area. Then, of course, there is a marketing for the industrial and the human consumption. And the biggest producer is Salina Colombolo, that produced around 67% of total production in 2018. 2019 is increasing, but there are not specific data. Then about to cover 90% of production, we have more than the mentioned Salina Colombolo, Salina Ciumane, Salina Macaca, Salina Sal do Sol in Namibia, Salina Alexander House, Salina Angosal, Salina Bentiba, Sosal is cover almost 90%. The biggest buyer is Atas Group. We have three major importers in 2019, Neodor, and Halliburton Overseas Limited, and Zundo Commercial Gomez. And the major human consumptions supermarkets, Quero and Candando, that is the most diffused. And for human consumption, it's a strategic product of salt in Angola, and but también for industrial activity. and Angola can produce a lot of more salt, and also for internal consumption, for export. The problem is the cost of production that is very high in Angola, but could be improved. And also the high cost of credit. The bank is a problem for the salt, and the high cost of energy. They are not yet used until alternative source of energies. And then after this financial production cost, we have the transport cost, because the salt is a very low price products, and the transport is very expensive. And normally there is no specific and diversified salt production in Angola. Before, the transport cost around the coastline were done with some vessel, but the company is closed now, so all is by truck. And of course, the cost of transport and the state of some road are not really good in Angola. So especially for the internal urban center is a problem. And so the saline enterprise is organized in large area close to the sea. They use manpower, and of course a lot of marine water. Then the collect of raw material is mainly manual, but there is some machine. And then all these packed in 25 kilogram bags, and iodized, because the salt must be iodized in 25 kilogram. Normally is manually iodized, but there is some machinery for that. Then there is the storage and sold. The sold, after some time, the 25 kilo salt is reduced to 1 kilo salt bags that's sold to the people for human consumption. But this is only a fraction of the part. And here we can see some saline, especially the crystallization part in the bottom side, where after crystallization they are collecting in little group the salt by manually. And then here we can see the salt is already collected, is in a place to be dried. Salt must be very well dried. It is in Benguela. And then here is the utilization of manual machinery for the iodization. They use a manual machine, very easy to do. And there is also automatic and more modern machinery. But this is very common in Angola. And here is an automatic machine for make bags, 25 kilo bags, is imported from Italy, and a machine in Saldo Sol in Namibia. This machine can produce many tons per day of bags. So also after the bags are reduced or are in bags of 25 kilo and bags of 1.5 kilo, is sold directly to the trader or sold directly to the small seller and gross products that are placed in the urban center, and then they give to the distributor or industrial client or human consumption. This is very important path of distribution of salt. And here we can see the use of salt, as also already speak in Angola. There is some part is used to make sodium carbonate. Some part are used to make glasses and PVC, and then some part is for clean aluminum, color some textile, and for some oil products, ceramics, colors, soap and other cleaner, etc., etc. And then, of course, the PVC, one of the biggest use of salt, and to make all the industrial products that need the population. And of course, we have also the use of salt for the pharmaceutical industry, for water treatment and to defrost some material, some ice, and finally is used in the food and feed industry for the food and feed production. And this is a very multi-use material for this. As we can see in this table, and is almost all green, so we have not a lot of problem. As I told you, there is a lot of requests, a lot of possibility to produce salt in Angola, but some input like the machinery to pump and machinery to PEX are imported, and we need also to produce more salt to avoid importation, even if importation is cheaper than the local production. And we have a very big export potential. It is very important, but of course we need to get down the prices. There are really a very big possibilities, technical possibilities for the large natural resources present in Angola, and trade, because there is a lot of requests for national and international and regional market, but we need not yet a good service. We have not yet a good service for credit, logistic, and marketing in Angola. So we can speak about some investment opportunities, and here in this table, in this there is 40 new projects that are in the list of Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries about salt. This new project can produce more. They must be approved and financed soon, we hope. And then this depends from the meeting. This list depends from the meeting we had with the new producer around the coastline. We visited with our team, private and institutional, and also in the actual existing main saline area. Here there is the most important investment for to renew the pond, to collect better the water from the sea, and to pump. This is one of the main problems, to pump the seawater to the pond, and to make a better dig, better separation between one and the other pond. And then of course to produce to accumulate in the warehouse the bag of salt. Some are urgent, some are less urgent, but all these could be financed. All these projects are already deposited in some banks, and Prodesi will surely collaborate with them. Then it's important to fortify the organization with the Salt Association, Brazil, and other industrial association, and to complete all the list of this request from the main saline, to have more efficient in production and cheaper production cost. Especially, as repeated, this pumping is very important, and the reorganization of the pound. Some is too shallow to make good production, a good concentration, and the production is salt, and to satisfy the local, national, and other requests. Another important project, we already speak with the association and the private entrepreneurs and the institutional stakeholders, is to develop in 4 salinas, in 4 areas, the most interested, some use alternative energy. So we can use several alternative energy, like the solar energy, the wind energy, and the maritime current energy, and also photovoltaic energy. So this energy could be used directly to pump from the sea the water. In fact, one of the main problems is the not continuous supply of seawater, and this produce break in production. And this is, of course, creating a gap in production, because especially during the sunny weather, is not enough water, salt water inside, or the cycle is not so fast. Product is salt, and of course this is a main cost one of the main costs in the salt production. So to have a very cheap cost of pumping and the energy for pumping. And this is finished. Another point that we don't mention is about the marketing. Salt is not have not different areas. just the salt, but we can produce fleur de sel, flour salt, and it could be commercialized more expensive for the human consumption. So very few people are doing that, and this could be a very good opportunities. Anyway, I'm sure that in the near future, all Prodesi collaboration will reach also the salt producer. So it is a very good opportunities, and thank you very much to listen to me. Obrigado. Carlos.